You're trying to lose weight. Look, avoid these 3 common healthy breakfast choices. If you eat these, it's going to be really hard. The first one, avocado toast.
Oh, you just broke every chick's heart.
I know.
Everybody.
That's like staple brunch.
Avocado toast somehow
every fitness influencer chick's going to be coming after you after this one.
It got put into this category of like
Why?
it's a good choice.
Why?
Because it's got avocado on it.
Because it's a superfood.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. Because avocado is considered a superfood.
Healthy fats.
And it's not even low calorie, really. It's like...
It's high. Here's the problem with it. There's nothing necessarily wrong with avocado. Toast, not necessarily wrong with it, although I'd say I typically don't recommend bread for most people, but nothing necessarily wrong with it. But what you're doing in the morning with this is you're having no protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Fats, to an extent, help with satiety. They also help the insulin spike that you get from carbohydrate intake a little bit, but not like protein. And if you're trying to hit a fat loss goal, protein should be what you go after. It helps with satiety, it helps with muscle preservation at the least, muscle building at best, and it blunts the blood sugar insulin spike that you get from consuming food, which you want to do, because if you get these high spikes and low drops, which is what happens when you have just sugar or just sugar and fats even to a lower degree, but you still get it, is you have these changes in how you feel, cravings, energy crashes that result in more challenging time to stick to a normal diet. Or a good diet, I should say. So avocado toast by itself for breakfast, not a great choice.
Who started that trend?
Yeah.
Any ideas?
Social, reality shows, reality TV shows.
Are you just saying that?
No, because my daughter's 15, and then she's like, avocado toast. I'm like, where'd you figure this out?
Yeah, probably TikTok.
It's in like every cafe now. Yeah, it's very popular.
Avocado toast has been more popular before TikTok, and I don't think TikTok is responsible for it. Yeah, maybe an old reality show. Like, there's got to be somebody or somebody famous who made it a thing. I bet Google it.
I mean,
Google who made avocado toast popular.
To be fair, it tastes good.
But when we were growing up, it wasn't even a thing.
No, well, avocado in general wasn't a thing, period. Avocado,
that's what I'm saying. So something happened in culture to make it this phenomenon where it's the thing that...
I do want to say, though, if this is what you like to have for breakfast, you could make this not a bad choice if you eat something high protein with it or first. Then it's not that big of a deal. It is high calorie, but it's not that big of a deal. If you had like 30 grams of protein with this, now you've got the proteins, the healthy fats, and you're getting the benefits of the protein.
Who is it?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
the goop.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Does it say was it during like a
Like
show?
in 2013, she published a cookbook that had that as a recipe in it.
It's like a real hard recipe.
But however, some would argue that an Australian back in 1993 popularized it initially.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe she got it from there.
Bill Granger
and
was
then
his
she
name.
brought it over here. But there were definitely in the States, this was not a thing when we were growing up. And it became. I remember it became a phenomenon. Like all of a sudden,
you get it at
every
restaurant.
girl I knew was eating, or having a
toast.
cup of coffee at Starbucks, and avocado toast was like. It's like, who
Yogurt
thought? And I, the trainer in me goes like, why? What made you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, again, avocado is a healthy food in general, healthy fats.
Yeah, but
it's got fiber in it.
I mean, almonds are
sure,
but nobody tells you to have a handful of almonds with an English muffin.
You combine something that has some good health properties to it with high palatability. Which, if you guys had avocado toast, it's good. Really good.
Yeah.
You're going to have a trend.
That's all right.
But okay, first I think we should paint the context.
There's no cheese.
A good breakfast, a good breakfast that helps with weight loss should have the following. It should have protein in it, and it should help with satiety and help with blood sugar control. And a high protein breakfast will do that. Avocado toast has none of that. It's got fat, some fiber, and carbohydrates, and it's also high calorie on top of it. You're also consuming, if you eat a whole avocado, how many calories in a whole avocado? Like 400 calories?
Yeah. I can't wait for the editing team to edit this one for the clip. It's going to be like, Gwyneth Paltrow's wrong.
Yeah.
My bum says so.
That's true. You
guys got a viral clip coming.
But if you eat high protein with this, if you have like 6 scrambled eggs and then you have this.
Who's doing that though? No chick,
right.
No chick is scrambling 6 eggs and then having avocado toast. That's just not happening.
But most women with their goal, most women I would say probably should start with around 30 grams of protein in the morning. So large avocado, okay, 320 calories. How big is a large avocado?
200 grams.
I don't know. You know how it is with these things.
That's why you be careful with that. When I never like stuff like this, because small, medium, and large, a lot of times they're using numbers that date way back to like, and the size of all of our fruits, vegetables, everything has grown significantly, and there's no such thing as a small avocado.
No.
Yeah. No, Cordy just ordered one of these recently when we were at this cafe, and it was like the bread alone looked almost like a pound cake. It was so big. It was like, this is a toast? Like, it just classifying it as weird.
Where were we just at? She just had that. It was massive, actually. We just had it.
Typically, what you'll get is a slice of sourdough bread that's this big.
You might be right. That is right. That's where she had it. Was it Half Moon Bay?
Yeah.
I was like, that's so funny. You guys, Katrina ordered that for breakfast.
She couldn't even finish it. It was like a quarter of it.
She got it. It was this.
So it's like 800 calories.
Oh, bro, it was massive.
With no protein.
It was massive. I was like, oh my God, it's the biggest. That's so funny. I was like, how did you guys do the same thing?
So it's all carbohydrates, fats, no proteins whatsoever.
Yeah.
Next, a lot of people think this is really healthy. And people will get this in pursuit of better health and fat loss. And that's a fruit smoothie. Fruit smoothies, again, have almost no protein unless you add a bunch of protein to it. But what you've done with fruit when you blend it up is you've pre-digested it and dramatically increased its blood sugar impact on you. So you've made something, because like, for example, berries. If you eat berries, you eat an actual berry, it's high fiber. Yeah, it's got sugar, not a ton, but it's high fiber, and it doesn't cause these crazy spikes in blood sugar. But if you take a bunch of berries and blend the hell out of them.
Yeah. There's no slowing it down to really digest it. It's like almost immediate hit.
That's right.
Yeah, I blame all the Cal Poly kids for this one.
Yeah.
Like Cal Poly kids?
That's who invented Jamba Juice.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
It was a senior project. Jamba Juice was a senior project from a couple kids from Cal Poly who started the first Jamba Juice, and then obviously it was exploded. But how long did people? I mean, I'm sure you guys remember training clients who thought Jamba Juice was a good choice.
Yes. I mean, I remember there was diets like directly around these like smoothies, and it was like the whole smoothie diet. Like, it was huge for a while when we were growing up.
I remember the first time I looked up the Nutrifacts on like a smoothie.
Oh, they're like 600 calories, 700 calories.
For like
sugar.
A small. Yes. I mean, they get up to 1,000 calories, and they're just sugar.
What you've done is you've dramatically, so let me just paint the picture here. You've dramatically increased your ability to consume more fruit. Fruit by itself is not bad. If you had fruit with some protein in the morning, you'd be well off. But there's an amount of fruit that you can eat when you eat it in its natural form.
Right, like the skin and everything like that.
Yeah, you're not going to eat, 600 calories worth of berries. But if I blended them, and especially if I added some, non-fat milk and some whatever flavor in there.
Yeah, yogurt or ice cream.
It's going to make it really palatable, and I can consume way more than I normally would. And I get this tremendous amount of calories with this impact on my blood sugar that resembles a soda, simply because we have broke it down so much. Now, I'm not saying it's worse than a soda or as bad as a soda, but from a satiety standpoint, calorie standpoint, for fat loss, it's not a great choice.
Oh, you could make the argument it's worse. Yeah. I know you don't want to do that because I know people are going to freak out when you say that. But a can of soda is what? 160 calories, 30 grams of sugar. A small Jamba Juice or smoothie is try 300 to 500 calories and try more.
I guess when you're weighing everything out,
I'm pretty sure it was at Jack LaLanne. It was like tried real hard to get everybody to juice everything so it's easier for. And so I in terms of it being a health thing, I think that's probably where it started in that culture.
I will say this: if I'm not mistaken, Jack LaLanne's juices were vegetables.
That's how it was.
Which are low calorie, and what he's doing is he's trying to maximize nutrient intake. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that either. I think it's oversold.
Yeah,
but it's not the same thing as a fruit smoothie. Fruit smoothies are ridiculous. They're high in calorie. Even if you add protein, most fruit smoothie places, when you say add a scoop of protein, you're getting 8 grams. Yeah. 8 grams of protein is typically what you have to add.
Maybe 20 if you have like double it up or something.
Yes, but even then you're looking at 60 grams of sugar blended to have a high sugar impact on your body. Again, the glycemic index went through the roof. You add 8 grams of protein, it's not going to do a whole lot. So smoothies, if you're trying to lose weight, it's not a great way to start your day. The last one, and this one I know is going to be the most controversial, an unhealthy breakfast choice for someone trying to lose weight is skipping breakfast.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh. I like this one because I think that a lot of
people are doing that.
Yeah, fasting is as popular or more popular than ever. People find that they do these eating windows and they lose some weight, and so they think it's a successful way to lose weight. But when we go back and we talk about every single client I ever trained, every single one of them struggled to hit their protein intake. And if you take a meal out of their day, it's already hard to get a high protein breakfast as it is. And if they completely skip it and they don't eat till lunch or 1 or 2 in the afternoon, it is so hard to hit that protein intake. And if I've got this client on a fat loss journey and I'm strength training with them and I'm trying to build muscle and build their metabolism, skipping breakfast is like one of the worst things that we could do.
You're behind all day.
It also encourages, because when you look at, if you want a long-term successful, relationship with nutrition, you want a relationship that's healthy with food. And what this tends to promote is a binge restrict type of relationship with food. So whenever I would train, now fasting for spiritual reasons, I love it. I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. Fasting for certain medical conditions makes sense sometimes. It's oversold for the average person. All the health benefits of fasting, when they show in studies, are pretty much matched with calorie restriction. There may be some benefits for certain medical situations, gut health issues and stuff like that, in which case your functional medicine practitioner will tell you, let's not have you eat for this many hours to, whatever, give your gut a break or whatever they determine. But generally speaking, what you see when people do this is they start to adopt this behavior where it's like restrict, eating time, binge. Even if they eat healthy, here's what I've seen with clients. Even clients who were super disciplined in the beginning and didn't reach for unhealthy foods when it was time to eat, the speed at which they ate the food that they were going to eat was fast. This is what you notice. And I would ask my clients this, when you're done with your fasting window and it's time to eat at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., whatever, pay attention to how fast you eat your food. And they come back to me and go, it's really crazy you said that, Sal. I'm like scarfing it down. That's a relationship you're developing with food that isn't a long-term healthy one that is going to be able to stick around with, and succeed from. So skipping meals, again, unless it's for spiritual purposes, I don't think it's a great idea. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, I have a free guide that teaches you how to lose fat in 3 steps, just 3 steps that will burn the most amount of body fat and help keep it off. This guide is totally free. We're giving it to everybody right now. If you want it, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show.
So you bring up skipping meals and breakfast. My sister-in-law, this was a conversation that we recently had, and she's like just have coffee. And I had her start doing the Paleo Valley inside her coffee, and she's like,
so she had some protein in there.
Yeah. And the salted caramel inside the coffee is so unbelievable. And Paleo Valley's protein powder is like, you can scoop so much of it in, and it doesn't like some protein powders you scoop and it's like all thick and yogurty. Like, it's so thin that you could do double, triple scoops in there. And so you get a real high protein intake mixed in coffee. Amazing. I got her to start doing that because she was in this camp of, well, I don't eat bad for breakfast. I just don't eat. I just have coffee. And then I have my first meal at this and then. I was like, sis, you're never going to hit your protein intake. So here's one of our ways that we can start to solve that. And by the way, when you take somebody who was a meal skipper for breakfast and they've been doing that for a long period of time, it's really hard to get that person to eat a full meal that's 40 grams of protein because their body's adapted to.
They have no appetite.
So this was a great way to get her to start to introduce higher protein in the morning like that and also enjoy it. And she's already drinking coffee. So that's been like amazing.
It's funny, by the way, some psychologists will actually recommend for people to work with mild anxiety to eat protein in the morning because it helps control cortisol and helps regulate hormones. So some people notice lower anxiety as a result of eating some protein in the morning as well.
Interesting.
In fact, Jordan Peterson talked about this a while ago, how he says he recommends people wake up and eat an egg or some kind of protein to kind of to balance you out. Skipping breakfast, this can happen for men, but it's more common for women. You'll see functional medicine practitioners will often tell their female clients, remember, first off, just to be clear, they have a self-selection bias of people who are having health issues, okay? Yeah. So they're not working with just everybody. They're working with people who go to them because they're like, I can't figure out why I feel this way, why my hair is thinning, why I feel cold all the time, my energy is weird. And oftentimes they're people who fast and they'll say, first things first, eat breakfast. Yeah. Because it's going to help regulate your body because it can cause hormone imbalances more often in women. I had a female client that I did this with when fasting started becoming a thing. I remember lots of clients were trying it and this woman was fasting. Now she was already high stress. She was already type A. She was a mother on top of it. And I remember she fasted for a while. She started noticing her hair starting to fall out. She used to have all these symptoms of like too much stress. I worked with a functional medicine practitioner, and he's like, she needs to start eating breakfast.
Yeah.
And that was part of her protocol to kind of balance things out. So anyway, I want to address this. There's this like viral debate I saw one of our editors send us.
Oh, the one that Danny sent over?
Yes. So
love
this is Mike Israetel. Love the guy, by the way. I like the way he communicates fitness. Smart dude. And there's this trainer or this online coach, and I want to say is he a physical therapist?
I don't know his background. His name is Ben Yates. He's got a pretty big Instagram page. I don't know if you guys remember. There were some things that we had disagreed on a long time ago. I don't remember what it was though.
Okay.
So I've seen his page. I've been familiar with his stuff. And he's one of those trainers that all their content is finding other.
What's wrong with what somebody
fitness
biomechanic
professionals.
nuances he can gotcha.
But I saw the argument. It was over. Mike Israetel loves to do these bicep curls. I've watched actually several videos of him doing them. He's talked about them on some interviews because I've consumed quite a bit of his content. Like one of his favorite places to do a bicep curl is in this kind of lying back
incline.
Yeah,
incline curls,
like in a real extreme position to where he's like in this complete stretched position. Almost looks like a pec fly position where he's holding, but he's putting the bicep in the stretch position.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about the benefits of training muscles in the fully stretched position.
And the data shows this. The data shows that when you look at the full range of motion of an exercise, when a muscle is loaded under stretch, it has the loudest hypertrophy signal. In other words, if we were to compare all the ranges of motion, or let's say we were to compare exercises, apples to apples, but this one loads you in the stretch, this one loads you, let's say at the shortened range or the mid range of the exercise, the stretch loaded exercise will build more muscle. Mm-hmm. And by the way, bodybuilders have observed this for decades, but we now have studies to show that this indeed is the case, that when you load a muscle in stretch, this is why some of the like squat versus hip thrust studies show that they build glutes similarly, even though a hip thrust is more of a direct glute exercise. It's because the squat loads the glutes in a stretch position. You'll see this with other exercises. So what people are doing is like, oh, let me put more stretch exercises into my routine to build more muscle. And
strengthen the end range.
A standing barbell curl is not going to stretch your bicep.
Well, that's the reason why I like this. Before you go there, is that the bicep tends to be one of the more challenging places to do this.
Yeah.
When you look at all the standard machines and exercises that people do for the bicep, which is why I've always loved an incline. I think we all have. We've programmed it.
It's programmed in most of our programs.
Right. We have incline bicep curls in a lot of them for that reason. And it's one of the few ways that you can get a really good full stretch.
Yeah. So here's the deal with the bicep. If I just extend my arm, my bicep is fully lengthened, but I'm not really getting a full stretch, and I'm limited by my elbow. Like my elbow joint doesn't bend anymore. The way I get a stretch on my bicep is if I bring my arm back behind my body, because the long head of the bicep attaches over the shoulder joint. So here it's not stretched, but if I bring my arm way back here, I'll start to feel my bicep stretch. Mm-hmm. So incline curls does that, right? And so this guy, Ben Yates, says that biomechanically speaking, the fulcrum or the point of contact should be at the elbow, not letting the shoulder hang, because you're just stretching the shoulder, not necessarily the bicep. I think he's right and wrong. I think he's right from a biomechanical standpoint. I think, though, he's wrong, though, because he forgets that the bicep, the long head attaches over the shoulder joint, and the bicep, a lot of trainers and coaches don't know this. It doesn't just flex the elbow. It also brings the humerus up in front of the body because of where it attaches.
Which, by the way.
So it's got two functions. It's not a huge function of it, but that's part of it. So hanging the arm down, letting it stretch at the shoulder, it does give you a better bicep stretch. It does. So Mike Israetel, in my opinion, is picking the better way of doing this.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the reason why I like, and I love that our team is sending stuff like this over, because I like to comment and talk about this, because this is where we lose so many people, right? We try and find another professional in the space and we tear apart something they're doing, and it's always great if it's somebody who's like trending right now. Mike is everywhere, all over the place, for rightfully so too, right? He puts out incredible content. He's really smart. And it's like, oh, can I find something he's doing that I can pick apart? And I think the people that do this, I'm just not a fan of this, because you think you're helping the community by making an argument, but then you lose a lot of people. I mean, now a lot of people that follow this guy might not ever do that exercise because he made a good biomechanical argument, right, for it. Like, well, gravity is not directly opposing the bicep right there. Yeah. And so you're right. There's a part of his argument that has some truth to it.
He's saying that the lever is so long that you want to put something behind the elbow.
He showed you could get the same idea by laying across a bench, and I'll have Doug post the video so the viewers can see this, but he shows a picture of the guy laying there.
Same position,
but the elbow supported. But if the elbow's supported, then it doesn't get that stretch in the shoulder. Then the pressure is on that. And again, I agree. I disagree with the argument he's making, because then this isn't that different than a basic concentration curl.
It also, by the way, I don't know a lot about Ben Yates. I looked through some of his stuff. He's a smart dude. But here's where the bodybuilders tend to win. By the way, Mike Israetel isn't just a bodybuilder. He's also highly educated, so he's got both. Try both. Go do both exercises. The way Ben Yates is showing that curl, that one sucks. I would way do the one that Mike. Try it out yourself. You just sit across a bench, edgewise, put your elbows here. It's not going to feel nearly the same as laying on an incline bench.
You know, you bring up you bring up bodybuilders, right? And you know me, I've always been like defending the bro science on here, right? And so, because there's a lot of things that we pick apart that they did that when you actually do it and you perform it, like, you get it now. So what used to be really common in the bodybuilding world is to rock your shoulders at the end of the bicep curl. So old school bodybuilders would curl and then finish the curl here.
That's right.
And they curl all the way up. And that ended up being something that we tore apart.
Yeah. That's the front delts lifting the elbows.
Yes. And it's like, and the reason why they're doing it is to get that full contraction by doing it, because there is a little bit. Now, we're splitting hairs on how much more is that going to develop your bicep, and the biomechanic police can come over and try and tear that apart. But that was the reason why.
Yeah, it's true.
It is true. I know. Right? And this is another example of, like, you know, we really love to try and rag on a lot of the bodybuilders and how they've trained for so long. But a lot of them had figured that stuff out just from trial and error, whether they understood the science or the biomechanics of it or not. They figured out, like, God, I could definitely feel a difference. And if you can feel a difference, if you ever take a bicep curl and just curl it to what you think is full contraction,
just squeeze your bicep and then bring your shoulder up and
squeeze a rock a little more, and tell me if you don't feel more of a pump.
You're bringing both. What you're doing is you're bringing both points closer together by lifting the elbow, so it shortens the bicep even more, and that's part of the bicep function. That's biomechanics. Not a huge part, but it does do that. It does do that.
And to me, the real point of why I like talking about this stuff to the audience is because I care more about the person who's just trying to get in the gym and work out. And here you know, maybe you're a fan of both these guys, and now you're lost. Right? Like,
which one do I do?
Yeah, I'm a huge Mike Israetel fan. I like this Ben Yates guy. He's really smart. And like now I'm being pitted against the two of them. Like, now I got to choose like who knows more. And it's just like, man, this is the problem with our space when we do stuff like this, where we pick apart people's content, especially good people putting out good stuff. Like, I'm all for like smashing the content that is like just wrong and bad and giving and hurting people.
But that wasn't wrong, and he titled it, you know, debunking the something myth. What he could have said was, "Hey, here's another version that I like to do." It would have been totally fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This one, you guys found an argument that I give literally two shits about.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, wow, it is so like minuscule the difference. So
100%.
You know, with bicep curls in general, but I understand where you guys are coming from with that, because it's a feel thing too, and it's like if you're trying to debunk, you know, his entire philosophy with that, it better be like substantial. It's not even substantial.
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it better be something. Like, if you're going to come after somebody, especially somebody who puts out good content, in my opinion, you better have a really good reason to tear it apart, because it's completely not valid, right? It has to be like, that's bullshit science. That doesn't work.
Yes,
that's not like, that's totally wrong, or that could hurt you. Here's a better way. It's like, nah, like, do it both ways and tell me you'll feel different.
And see what happens. Mike Israetel's version is the one that everybody does because it's 10 times better. But it is interesting because muscles have actions that oftentimes the average person or average trainer doesn't even know. Like the pecs, for example. We know that the pecs brings a humerus across the body, right? With a horizontal adduction of the humerus, right? But did you know it also internally rotates the humerus? A lot of people don't know that. So when you do a fly, if you bring your hands down a little bit, you'll actually get a little bit more action from the pecs.
Yeah.
But it's so small, who cares? Right? I would never make that point.
And again,
I would only make that point to sound smart like I just did right now.
Right. Or if somebody's like asking that direct question, like, hey, if I internally rotate this, do I get more of this? I guess I would address like that. I wouldn't. This is the type of stuff though. You never talk about this to a client.
Yeah.
No.
And because of social media, we've turned into so many of these like nuances into these debates, and then got into camps, and then it becomes this again. Like I said, there's definitely a kid. I guarantee you, hopefully, is listening to this, who probably likes both those guys, and now is like lost
They're on
on
a quest for the biggest bicep.
what he's going to do. Or now he thinks that one guy's more right because he did the latest review. And who knows if Mike
You know what happens
responds
is
or
you
not,
identify with one or the other. Like you're either the jacked, dude,
Right.
or you're like the, not so jacked but super, you're trying to be smart.
Academic trainer.
Yeah, type of deal.
That's
So,
totally what ends
I
up.
know. I had a thought this morning around nutrition that I thought I would love to bring you guys and see what you guys think about it, because I think I thought about it long and hard. I went through it in my mind, forward and backward, and I think it's true. And I think this is why, but I want to run by you guys. Yeah. And I think this is why one of the reasons why extreme diets tend to gain traction. So my thought was that the more an extreme diet is, the louder its supporters are going to be, because if you're one of those rare individuals that follows an extreme diet, then maybe it does work for you, and now you're going to fight for it. For example, there are people out there that have so many immune reactions to foods, maybe not allergies, but like they get lots of reactions, inflammation, joint pain, intolerances, right?
Yeah.
That a carnivore diet will change your life.
Sure.
And the people who are so loud about carnivore diets are those people.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound like it's great for everybody.
It resolved the major issue that they're dealing with.
So I feel like extreme diets have really loud proponents, because the ones that it works for are the ones where they are different than most people. Like I said, like carnivore diet, like Mikhaila Peterson, she needs to eat carnivore diet. It saved her life. Yeah. Most people, terrible.
I don't know if it's... So I don't disagree.
Do you think that
it's not that I don't think I disagree with you as much as I think that there's a greater reason for what's happening. So, and I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, hear me out and you can tell me if I'm aligning or I'm disagreeing with you in this situation. So this morning, you weren't on the call, but our YouTube guy, right, who was following analytics always and is breaking down everything that we say and do and is always trying to like help us shape content, right? So it's found by more people. One of the things that is proven is that when we say something very direct, short, and simple, we get the most traction, the most views, the most share. Sure. And so what I think happens with to your point with extreme diets, another way of saying extreme diets is also simplistic.
Yeah, black, white.
One thing, only meat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No nuance.
Yes, only
Explain to me the carnivore diet real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
All you eat is meat.
Yeah, all you eat is
meat.
that's all I got to do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Salt
saying?
it, that's it.
All I do is only eat during this time to that time? Got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no other rules? Got it.
And water.
And then it actually works for some people and works really well. And so then I think you get this fervor around it of like, one, because it's simple, so many people can follow it, so you get a larger portion.
There's a lot of people that hate vegetables.
Yeah. Right. And then it actually works.
I agree with you. I think that's part of the formula.
Right. So I don't know if it's like I don't think.
No, I agree with you. I think that's part of the formula. I think part of the formula is also, does it counter, like you said, vegetables are healthy for me, and they're saying don't eat vegetables. Yeah. And I knew they were lying to me.
That was just crammed into us growing up. Like, you have to have these.
No, but I think what I'm also saying is also true, that like if you are one of those people that a keto diet really helps you because the ketones had some really incredible effects on your central nervous system. It really helped with blood sugar issues or gut inflammation because you're really intolerant to grains and starches for whatever reason. You haven't identified what it is. You're going to preach. You're going to preach about this like this has changed your life. I think the more extreme diets tend to have those proponents. Like if you talk crap about the carnivore diet online, you are going to get a group of people who are going to argue tooth and nail with you because it changed their life. I mean, it probably did.
What you are arguing or making the point of, which I agree too, is this is the religious part of diets.
Yep.
And you know this is how people are. If you take somebody who had a fucked up life, and came from all kinds of rough stuff, and they keep running into bad stuff, and that person finds religion, and it changes their life. Yeah. They become the biggest advocates.
Anything you do that does that for them.
And so whatever doctrine, religion, or thing they found that did that for them, there is no telling that person that it wasn't that, because for most of their life, X, Y, and Z happened. That was tragic, awful, all these things. They then adopted this way of thinking, and now it's radically changed them, and they will fight for it till the end.
Sorry to interrupt. Look, we have a free guide. It's the benefits of eating whole foods. This gives you a shopping list, what foods are best for proteins, fats, carbohydrates. There's recipe samples. It's all based on real, whole, natural foods, and it's a free guide. It's totally free. You can get it if you go to wholefoodsguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description below. You know what got me on this thought process? I don't know if you guys have seen this article that's going around. There was a man that got treated for hypercholesteremia. And the way he knew this, he went on a carnivore diet. So he ate nothing but meat. His body produced, by the way, there's a polymorphism, so not common, but some people do this where they just produce a lot of cholesterol. And these people many times need to be on medications, and they definitely need to change their diet. They just don't react well to saturated fats or fats in general, and it can cause problems. This guy was creating so much cholesterol that yellow nodules of cholesterol were coming out of his pores. Yeah, you can look it up, Doug. Maybe look up
that's a thing. That
carnivore diet, yellow nodules.
Well, that's disgusting.
And he went to the doctor. You'll see pictures of his hands. He went to the doctor trying to figure out what was happening. And it's literally, his body was producing so much that it was coming out. It was
just squeeze him. It's like,
what a terrible commercial for carnivore diet, by the way. Yeah. By the way, it's so rare. This is so rare.
So rare though,
this doesn't happen. By the carnivore diet's not healthy for most people, but it won't do this to you. But there are those rare individuals that this can happen.
You are saying something right now that it can't help. I feel like I'm picturing what this would look like.
Yeah, it reminds me of that like Play-Doh setup where you
well, like listen, hey, listen what happened. So this weekend,
squeeze a Play-Doh.
This weekend, it was just Max and I, right? And one of his school projects is he has to count like 100 like popcorn kernels, 100 cotton balls, 100 of something, and then we put them in a bag or whatever. And
there it is right there. See the guy's hands at the top left?
I picture something a little bit different. I'll tell you what. So this is what I pictured because of what you were just describing. Gross. So I had never seen this before. So, okay, I decide I'm going to do popcorn kernels with Max, but we don't have any just plain popcorn kernels that you pop. We have all the bags, Pop Secret, right? The movie theater. Have you guys ever cut open one of those and actually looked inside?
Is it bad?
Bro.
No.
So I go, oh, we'll do 100 popcorn kernels. I'll just cut this open and then pull them out. It is gross how thick and greasy, and I mean, I had to get a strainer out, hot water, soap, and just to get all the. But it's
not real butter, right? It's a bunch of chemicals.
Yes, it smelled weird. It felt weird. It did not. It was gross. I was like, oh my god, I want this popcorn anymore, dude. I eat that popcorn all the time.
I'm embarrassed I don't know more about this, but I'm pretty sure from the little bit that I know, because I'm not a big popcorn eater, but microwave popcorn is not great. Because of what they put in it to allow it to all be in the same.
I feel embarrassed that I kind of knew. Like I kind of knew. I didn't think it was. I would by no means would I think like this is a health food. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew I was enjoying. But when I opened it up and actually had to clean
this is one of your remnants of your old bodybuilding lifestyle, right?
Yes.
It's like low calorie snack.
Yes. Yeah. And I had to like not to throw my wife under the bus, but that's like her favorite like cheat or snack is popcorn. And so it's heavily consumed at my house. And yes, it's not the healthy kind. It's movie theater popcorn butter type thing. That's like a treat that for her and I watching a movie. But I tell you what, after opening it up and cleaning it off, like what I had, it was disgusting.
You know what we used to do all the time? We didn't do when I was a kid, we never got microwave popcorn.
No, we popped it regular, and then you did your own butter and salt.
No, we didn't even do that. So we used to, well, my mom, we did that too, but then later my mom bought Jiffy Pop, the one you put on the stove, you go like this, and it makes the big silver dough.
Mushroom silver.
But yeah, if you make your own popcorn in an air popper, and then add, your own butter. It's delicious.
I'm doing that going forward. I literally
air poppers are cheap too. Your kid will love it. He'll love watching the popcorn fly out of it.
And you don't even need that. You can do it in a big pot. That's how we used to do it.
And just throw butter in there.
Yeah, you literally just do it in one of those big pots with a lid and just throw it in there, and you just the bottom of it, a little bit of oil or something in there, and it'll work. But after seeing what was inside that bag, and it doesn't smell or look like butter. It's like this gross margarine looking thing that
my mom ate so much of that growing up. I'm turned off by it. I don't eat any of it. it.
Look up the ingredients. Like pull up like one of the most
Pop Secret.
Yeah, look up Pop Secret.
I'm curious.
Microwave popcorn ingredients, and let's just look at the
This is
ingredients.
gonna screw me
I don't know
up.
enough about this.
I'm gonna ruin. I know.
Hydrogenous oil and all that stuff. That's
Well, it's
mashed in there.
hydrogenated.
Yeah.
It's androgynous
It's
oil.
androgynous. It doesn't really know.
It looks like Prince.
If it's
It looks like David Bowie.
tastes
Oh,
good.
you're gonna ruin my wife's day right here because this is her thing right now. I can't.
What does this taste
So
like?
hydrogenous.
Does this taste male or female? It's androgynous.
Why Doug's looking
Add
that
that
up?
to
I
the
got more
library.
fitness news for you guys.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I got it here.
Let's see. Let's
Read the ingredients.
It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Whole grain popcorn, palm oil, salt, natural and artificial flavor.
Well, that's where you just.
That's
That's
where
the
you-
category.
yeah.
Where, what is that? When they say that?
It's a good question.
Is it Pop Secret you're looking at?
I'm Pop Secret.
Okay, that's
yes.
the brand. And is it movie theater butter?
They call it just butter. So I don't know if it's movie theater.
Yes, I
butter,
do the
but-
extra movie theater.
Yeah, they add the extra hydrogenated oils. in
Yeah,
that one.
that's what the extra.
Other than that,
chemicals.
though, it's paprika extract, annatto extract, ascorbic acid. So
Mr.
yeah,
Anato.
I don't know. It's not nothing too horrible, I guess.
let
I
me
mean,
tell you-
palm oil is questionable. I think.
No, palm oil's all right.
Well, it depends on how it's been
The
processed.
source, right?
Yeah.
Because you can kill orangutans. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
anything
you know
about
about that?
orangutans.
Palm oil, there's like this big push to not use it because it hurts orangutan habitats or something like that. Yeah.
I like the way they sell this. So 0 grams trans fat, 100% whole grain, made with non-GMO corn, no high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They sold it.
Yeah, I mean they do sell you on it. I mean, listen, I'm guilty. It's been in my house for a long time, but after opening it, makes me now go like, okay. You don't even. I don't even need to hear you read the ingredients for me to go. This is not good. Yeah, I'm ingesting.
is this?
Yeah, I'm ingesting this. This is not good. Yeah. Like it's like when you see those labels and you can't pronounce 60 of the words. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that can't be good. I'm pretty sure that's not a good thing. So
You know what else can't be good is freaking skunk fumes.
Oh, bro, you smell
yes,
so bad.
It's in my nose. Like I'm listening to you guys, and literally I can't like process anything because it's so annoying.
So you had the worst. You had the worst morning. So we get to work at 9. You showed up at noon. Yeah. Not because you were late.
Not my choice.
Yeah. First you get skunked, right, in the morning.
Yeah,
So what happened
So we
then?
woke up and I was getting the kids ready, and the dog went out to do his business. He comes back, and I was actually on the toilet. And I guess I'll just reveal all this. All this went down. I was on there, and then all of a sudden, like, my dog comes in and just like he does, he invades my privacy and then takes off. And I think he actually rubbed up against like my leg and my arm. And I was just kind of doing my thing, and I just, oh my God, like it smelled almost like an electrical fire though first. So I was like, oh, this is weird. And then Courtney's like, oh, freaking out. I think something is wrong. Like it smells like an electrical fire. Let's go. So I get up real quick, and we're checking everywhere around the house and looking, and couldn't figure it out. And the smell just got worse, and it was concentrated in this one area of like the corner of the hallway. And so I'm pretty sure like the dog, rubbed himself against the walls and kind of like into the carpet, and oh my God, it was so strong, and it got worse and worse and worse. And I'm opening all the windows in the house, and then
When did you figure out it was a skunk?
I went outside, and then I was like, oh, it's out here too. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is probably an animal. And I thought dead animal. And then, cause it's not like if you smelled skunk before, like, immediately, like that's skunk. Like, but it was like, it kind of like progressed into like crazy skunk smell. So anyways.
And that was what, 6 a.m.?
It was probably like 6:30, 6:30 or 7. So that was the start. And then the kids went to school, and apparently Everett had to come home because like the whole class was like, no, we can't. Because I think the dog went in and like laid on his bed while he was getting ready and just smothered him with this disgusting toxic fumes. Yeah. And so I got in my car, and I'm like going to work, and I'm on 17, and lo and behold, I guess there's this dump truck that caught fire, and everything, all this trash in the back of the dump truck caught fire, spilled all over the road, and like closed both lanes, and then it took forever to open one lane.
What do you think happened? Do you think the fire, he looked in his rearview mirror, saw it catching fire, and then dumped it intentionally because he didn't want the whole truck to catch on fire?
I think so.
That has to be what happened. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like somebody must
I have a picture, like somebody sent.
Yeah, I saw it, and it's like
You were stuck on that freeway for 4 hours.
4 hours.
That's a 30-minute drive.
And there's all these side roads, and so I anticipated maybe I'll do the side roads, but like you look and it's just as
Everybody tried.
everybody had that idea, and
Wow.
it just I had nowhere to go.
Now,
I'm
why?
like,
Why
I
don't
smell.
Is this true, Justin? You know, I don't know this, right? Because I've always thought, like, why don't they make another route from San Jose to the Santa Cruz area? There's only 17.
Yeah,
they call it the highway from hell because there's no escape. There's very little exits. It's windy. It often gets jacked or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's because people in Santa Cruz oppose it.
Yeah, I think they actually lobbied against it because I think there was a move to.
They just don't want people moving there like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, their idea is it pisses enough people off that aren't going to want to live there. You know what I'm saying? Enough people experience that. And they're like, I ain't going to live here.
It's like once or twice a year, but it really like, man, you're screwed if you get caught in it.
You voted to not have it built, didn't you?
Yeah.
The face I
All you San Jose people, we could do without you.
You guys are different over there.
And then he walked in here and I smelt him right away. I was like,
I was surprised.
Come on. Really? We got to deal with
Are
that
we
now?
used to it now? I don't smell it anymore. Is it still there?
Just come over here, dude.
No, I'm all right.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
all
not
right.
as bad as it was. No, listen, the news I was bringing up, I think this is interesting with F45 just partnered with, I think Dr. B is the name of the company. It's like a telehealth medicine type company that actually specializes in GLP-1s.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting, right? But talk
Now
about the
F45?
wrong group of people.
Oh, my God.
to have-
I didn't even
45
think
and
of that.
GLP-1s? Ugh.
That's exactly what I thought right away.
What are they going to call their program?
What a
Muscle
horrible
loss?
combo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly what I thought right away.
Osteoporosis?
Imagine, this is going to be really interesting. The repercussions that we're going to see from this
It's a horrible
GLP-1.
idea.
There was this, I don't know if it was a celebrity, kind of went viral on social media because she was going after the company that sells, I don't remember which one it was. I don't know if it was Wegovy or Ozempic. It was one of those, because she was young, obese, went on it, lost lots of weight, went back. Now you are at the beginning stages of osteoporosis.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's why that happened for everybody listening. The GLP-1 doesn't cause that. GLP-1 just makes you eat very little.
Yeah.
And if you go from being obese to eating very low calorie and you don't strength train and you don't keep your protein
You're
intake up,
malnourished.
regardless of GLP-1, forget GLP-1, you just did that on your own, you would have muscle loss. And if you lose muscle, you also tend to lose bone density. Okay, they go kind of hand in hand.
Yep.
That's what happened to her. It's not the GLP-1. It was that. So I don't know what kind of case she's going to have, but I think what we're going to see, and we've talked about this, is for a lot of people, they're going to trade one problem for another.
Yeah.
They're going to go, I'm not obese
already
anymore,
happening, yeah.
but now I have little muscle and I'm weak and I have poor mobility or whatever.
And this misconception that they're going to get like that last few percentages of body fat off from the GLP-1, like it's crazy to me. That's not like the point. The point is like if you're obese and you need to change your eating habits and start creating better habits with it. It's not to just shave off a little bit of body fat.
Yeah, I'm toggling back and forth now. I know originally I came out and felt pretty strongly that this was going to be net positive, that we're going to have, obesity is such a problem that so many people we're going to see so much positive health conditions in the right direction just simply by America losing some weight.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about when I see like companies like F45 partnering with GLP-1s and stuff like that, we're already not fans of that style of training for the average person. And that's because it's a circuit-based type of training. It's like cardio. And so,
which is fine, but it's so intensity-based. If you combine
It's not a muscle building protocol.
you combine it with a really low
it's
calories.
a terrible recipe for an 800 calorie person.
Yes.
And the average person that's not getting coaching, that's not getting support. Listen, when we had that group of 50 GLP-1 clients that we took through, it was a great opportunity for us to get insight on all different types of people. The most common thing was people under eating for such a long time that they had to reverse
hard.
Yeah, plateau hard, and they had to reverse diet. Many of them were down in the 1,000-calorie range. If you take that client,
a couple of them were like would race marathons. And
yes,
stuff, and
exactly.
would plateau so hard.
Exactly. And you take that person and they do high intensity type of classes and training, it is a recipe for more muscle loss and a slower metabolism.
Yeah.
And so,
and a hard plateau where you're stuck. Like, think about this. Like, okay, let's say you have 70 pounds to lose, right? So it puts you in the obese category. You go on a GLP-1, you don't aim for more protein intake. You don't strength train. You just go beat yourself up in a high intensity class. You're going to lose, 30, 40 pounds really quick. And then what's going to happen is you're going to hit this really hard plateau and your calories are going to be really low. So now I'm eating 1,200 calories. I'm beating myself up. If you can continue, by the way, because you probably feel like crap. But let's say you can continue. Where do you go?
Yeah.
What do I do now? Do I go down to, do I up my dose and cut my calories? Now I'm starting to dip into essential proteins, essential fats, and I'm going to have other problems. So it's part of the solution. I think GLP-1s, if used properly, can definitely be huge for a lot of people.
oh, I mean,
but it's part of a protocol.
I still stand by that they can be amazing for somebody. But what I'm starting to get worried about is originally I felt strongly it would be a net positive. But if we keep seeing groups like F45, the Orange Theory, if they start adopting these GLP-1s, and obviously I know why they're doing it. It's a smart, I mean, Weight Watchers did it too. It's a smart business play. And so if they start adopting it with their modality of training, I mean, it's the next worst thing that's going to happen is like the biggest marathon company decides to partner with a GLP-1. I mean, seriously, like I know that's an extreme analogy, but that's what's going on here. And like you start giving like marathon runners GLP-1s, it's not going to be a recipe for success. It's going to put people in a very unhealthy place. And so that worries me a little bit that, or it means we have a lot of work cut out for us to counter the information out there that people are getting about these GLP-1s.
Now, all right, speaking of, fitness and trends and stuff like that, it's not often that I will completely shift my paradigm on something in fitness just because I've been doing this for so long. I've had all those shifts already. But I had one this morning. Working out in the gym. There was a commercial on TV for a at-home piece of exercise equipment that I would make fun of so hard back in the day. But now I can see some actual legit value.
What is it?
Okay. When I tell you guys what it is, I want you to guess where I'm going with it. But I know you've seen this. It's the little, it looks like it's like a bike pedal, but it sits on the floor. So you sit on the chair and you just pedal it. You've seen those, right? You can put it on the floor in front of you, pedal your feet.
Yeah.
And it's like, I used to make fun of that. Like, what are you doing? Get up, go for a walk.
Like
but remember the study that came out about the calf raises?
Yes. That's it. Right there.
Yeah.
There was a study that showed that just doing some heel raises while you're seated after you eat has a measurable, a decent effect on blood sugar. Your insulin sensitivity goes up simply because you're flexing your calves. You're not even getting up and going for a walk. And I'm like, oh my God.
That would work.
If you buy one of these, you have a desk job and you hear us on the podcast, go for a 10-minute walk after you eat. And it's just not possible sometimes. Maybe it's snowing outside or raining, or maybe you got to sit at your desk. You're like, I can't take a 10-minute break. I got to keep going.
Yeah.
You could buy, we have no affiliation, by the way. I'm kind of sad that we don't, because I think people are going to buy them now. You could put this under your desk. They're small. Put it on the floor after we eat lunch.
I've seen a little step ones too that people use that for.
Think about that. After you eat, do 10 minutes on that stupid
Listen,
little thing.
things like that, okay.
I mean, that will make
things
a decent
like that
impact on your
seemed
health.
stupid 20 years ago for us are going to become more and more important.
Yeah.
I mean, we just keep
so sedentary.
We are so
Crazy.
I know.
sedentary.
It doesn't really point to it's miraculous, just how sedentary.
Yeah, we got
That's
worse.
what it is.
It's like a little something. So much
The
better.
fact that studies can come out and show that calf raises are helping us, you know what I'm saying? Dude, like we're getting that. That's how bad we're getting. We're like, just do some fucking calf
You need to
raises
fidget,
while you sit down and watch TV still.
You mean I need a
Throw all the
machine?
fidget things on
No,
you.
just lift your
Yes,
knees up a couple
we're not
times.
even there. Just start with that. You know, like it's
me in
more
the hip circle
It's
while we're
less a
talking.
sign of how miraculous and how powerful these tools are, and it's really more of a sign like, wow, we have gotten that sedentary that even just doing
I'm
that.
telling you right now, this is for the person who does no exercise, totally sedentary, eats whatever, and they're like, I just want to improve my health. I want to do something easy I'll actually notice an improvement in health. That's easy. It's not a huge commitment. You could buy one of these things like $100. I see Jug pulls them up on Amazon, 100, 170 there, 130 there. Put it at your desk, since you would sit at your desk all day long, And after you eat, pedal it for 10 to 15 minutes. You'll notice an improvement in how you feel just from that alone.
No, I do.
As I was watching the commercial, I used to make fun of that. You know,
yeah.
family members would buy them. I'm like, "What are you doing? What? Like, so dumb. Like, get up and go." No, you just do that right there, and you'll have a positive effect.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's working.
Wally's around the corner, bro.
I know.
We're so close to that.
Speaking of studies, I looked up studies on saffron extract. It's one of the key ingredients in Organifi's Happy Drops formula. And I brought this up before. So people don't know Happy Drops they're gummies. You eat them, they improve, they lift your mood, right? That's what they're supposed to do. Main ingredient is saffron. When you look up saffron studies on depression and anxiety, it's one of the most backed natural compounds for mild to moderate forms of depression and anxiety. I found so many studies. I found a review of studies that said it has a measurable effect. So for people who feel a little blue, a little down, like it'll do it for you. And the way it works is they think it works like an SS on like a selective serotonin selective reuptake inhibitor. So it'll help increase circulating levels of serotonin.
I actually overheard. I don't know if it was a functional medicine doctor or what. It was like some doctor that was getting interviewed on a podcast. It was like some clip that bounced up, and they were asking them like, you know, what are like 3 different, you know, herbs or things that people don't know about that, and like saffron was like the number one that he said is like this amazing thing that people can take that people don't realize about it, and how rare and how awesome it is for us to have it, because we just don't find it anywhere else in our diet.
You don't hear about it. I mean, I heard it on Ratatouille. That was it. It's like his go-to ingredient. You know, that he used.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it's for depression, anxiety, and then libido. Some people notice libido boost from it. So I mean, great. I love learning stuff like this. It's not a supplement I ever used before. Organifi did their Happy Drops, and
of all the gummies,
I mean, you feel something for sure. Like it does.
You love it.
Elevate the mood. I took some today because of my crazy start, and oh my god, I mean, my legs. I'm gonna have to do some serious mobility, but locking up. But yeah, I was in a mood.
How do you wash skunk smell off? Dude, I read tomato juice. Is that real? Is that true, or do you just wait? I'm
gonna look that up because I heard that too. But I mean. I guess do a whole bath of
you might have to shave your entire body.
Stop trying to get him to do that, Adam. You almost got
He's all motivated. He's been saying that all the time.
Every time you have something.
You know what works for that? Shaving your whole body.
Oh, so vinegar, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, or commercial. Bro, hey, wash your body with hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm just pour a bunch of weird.
Make yourself whiter. Hey,
tomorrow, just translucent. Hey guys,
I
don't smell anymore. I smell a little vinegary, but
who bleached their hair in here? For sure, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god.
The hydrogen peroxide.
You bleached it?
Like, did you do it yourself? Yeah. When you're.
We used to do it in high school. I did it like every year, from sophomore year to senior year, every year. And then
I've seen a picture of your frosty tip.
Yeah,
Did you look like I
used to have my head shaved, and then it was like really, really short. We would all bleach our heads, and then you'd let it grow out, and then you'd have the tips that were frosted, and then you just do it. I never. So even though you've seen pictures of me with frosted tips, I've never frosted my tips. I've always bleached my hair, and then you just let it grow out. Yeah, that's kind of how we would do it. Which you would.
I never did anything.
I did it once, I think, but I mean, I dyed my hair a few times because I was trying to be all punk rock. You know,
what colors?
Mainly black.
Just totally jet black.
All black. Yeah.
It looked like, yeah.
It like super goth.
I never did anything weird to my hair. just that one 5th grade picture that everybody keeps talking about. Oh, that was my mom.
You definitely won. You definitely won.
Yeah.
You won that. Did you guys see the latest stuff on Tesla with the cars? What they're able to do now from the factory?
No. They'll drive them. They'll drive to you.
Yes.
Automatically?
It'll drive to you.
Yes. They're one step away from them loading themselves on the dock to come to your actual house.
Oh, crazy.
They leave the factory on their own.
Think about how much that cuts costs for Tesla. Think about how much they just doing all that stuff.
Well, because you can just
pretty
order
soon the
it
car's
from
gonna
your
build
house,
itself.
right? You don't even need to go.
We're this close to like ordering your car, and then it like shows up at your house, dude. How wild is that going to be? Like with nobody.
Oh, wow.
Just a car shows up in your driveway, and it's like it just drove itself.
Car sales.
It drove itself there. Yeah. Wild, right? Yeah. Isn't that wild? I think that's so crazy.
Brain FM is music and sounds that induce different brain wave states. And it's legit. It really works. In other words, If you want your brain to focus more, listen to focus. You want to meditate? Listen to meditate. You want to get better sleep? Listen to sleep. It really works. Check them out. Get 30 days for free to see for yourself. Go to brain.fm/mind pump. All right, back to the show. This segment is brought to you by trainerwebinar.com. Adam and I get on, teach trainers and coaches how to become more successful, make more money, and get their clients better results. All the webinars are free. Go register, trainerwebinar.com.
Our first caller is Nathan from Virginia.
What's up, Nathan?
What's happening?
How can we help you?
Hey guys, it's awesome to be able to talk to you. So I'll get right to my question. I've been lifting on and off for about 15 years now, but I got really serious about my health in September of 2023 because of a health scare. And I was able to lose about 70 pounds. I went from 255-ish to about 190, which I know doesn't come up to 70, but I know I had a little bit of muscle growth in there. So I'm talking about fat.
Awesome.
But for the past 8 to 10 months, I really haven't seen much muscle growth or much fat loss. And I've been doing regular electrical impedance check-ins every couple of weeks and some DEXA scans, and my electrical impedance seems to fluctuate and my DEXA doesn't seem to match up with my electrical impedance. So I kind of feel like I'm stuck at this impasse and I really don't know how to proceed.
Yeah, great. Okay, so good. Yep. Do you know where your body fat is sitting now? Because it says you're 6'3", 197. That's, a great body weight for your height.
Yeah, I'm at 14.7 according to my last impedance scale check.
Okay, so what you're experiencing, Nathan, is at some point it gets harder and harder to progress because you start to get closer and closer to, for lack of a better term, genetic limits or limits on what you could do with your lifestyle. I'm assuming you're pretty strong since you've been lifting this entire time.
So my squat is about 350. My deadlift's at like 450 on a good day, but my bench is way down at like 170, and I've never been able to boost that. And everything else has kind of stayed stagnant for about the past year.
Okay. You're strong. Yeah. You're really strong. Yeah. By the way, good deadlifters typically don't do so well on bench. But anyway, at this point, I think what we would want to do is we'd want to look at diet, and then we'd want to look at training, and we want to change your programming. Probably. Have you been doing kind of similar programming this entire time, or have you been doing something kind of the same for a little while?
Rotating through ours? What are you doing?
So I use something called RP hypertrophy, and I do mesocycles of about 4 to 6 weeks where I kind of change it up. So every 4 to 6 weeks, I change my routine based on that, and then I just follow whatever that kind of gives me.
What do those changes look like when you make a change?
So for one mesocycle, I might go high rep, and the next mesocycle, I'll go like low rep or medium reps. I try to change the rep scheme up a little bit, but then I change the exercises where it'll be like the same number of chest exercises, but I'll change what the exercise is every 4 or 5 weeks.
Do you ever dramatically lower volume? Have you ever trained in a unilateral cycle, or have you ever done a training cycle where the lifts are odd lifts or lifts that you're not familiar with?
I have been adding more lifts that I'm uncomfortable with just because I want to try new things. And I would say about 6 to 10 months ago, I was working out 6 days a week and I was doing a ton of lifts. And I heard you guys talking about overtraining. So I actually thought that I might have been overtraining. So I reduced down to 4 or 5 days a week. And now I'm only doing about 4 or 5 exercises with 3 to 4 sets.
Okay. You're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, programming wise, he's doing pretty solid. You have to emphasize, and you said it already, that you obviously have been listening to the show. Your programming is pretty good. You probably have taken a lot of advice that we talk about nutritionally, just chasing whole foods, doing those things. And this is a perfect example of just that alone, doing those things. You could see as incredible results as you have. You are now at the next level to this, right? Of consistency with the diet to manipulating intensity in the training. So I would really want to peer into like what you've done, like where you at calories and macros, and how consistent are you with like tracking and measuring and paying attention to that stuff?
Yep. I track my calories every single day. To the annoyance of my girlfriend. I'm focused on entering them more than eating my food. Calories right now, I'm at 2196 with 187 protein, 68 fat, and 209 grams of carbs. But that's because I'm in a cut right now. Okay. And with my nutritionist, I was up to 3,200 after my initial cut because she got worried about metabolism.
Okay. You're doing good right
You're
there.
doing really good.
Yeah,
what I would do if you were my client and you had questions, I would radically change your programming.
Yeah.
I mean, I would change it
old timey
exactly.
or symmetry, one of those that's really
map
unique.
symmetry, map strong, or maps old time would really shake things up. Each program would provide you with something completely different. And then going back to your old lifts, you would see a little bit of a decline in some of those old lifts because you weren't practicing them. But then what tends to happen is you kind of slingshot past some of your old PRs. So I think radically changing your routine would be where I would go. Those are the 3 programs I would advise. Have you done a cycle of almost entirely unilateral training? Because experienced lifters tend to do really well when they do like a 3-month cycle of that.
No, I've never done anything like that.
Let's do symmetry.
Let's do map symmetry.
Let's do symmetry, and then after that, run into strong or old time. And I think that combo right there, the next 6 months, you're going to be set up pretty nice.
Yeah, and symmetry is going to be very different from what you're used to. It'll probably highlight some imbalances, some stability issues, and then as those strengthen, you'll go back to, at the end of symmetry, the last phase is a very traditional kind of 5x5 type program, and you should see towards the end of that some real good strength gains.
Awesome. I would love that.
All right.
All in all, though, Nathan, you're doing a really good job, dude. Yeah. I mean, everything from programming, nutritionally, I mean, even what you cycled, what you got your metabolism up to, your cut, recognizing you don't want to stay there too long. This is a perfect example of this is why I think maintaining, and everybody's going to be a little bit different, but maintaining that 11 to 14% body fat has always been really easy for me. So long as I make good choices, I'm training, it's pretty easy. Getting to the next level, if I want to get shredded 10 below, it does take this next level of, paying attention and diet manipulation and programming manipulation. That's where the next level is for you. But all in all, you've done an incredible job from what you've told us so far.
Yeah, your strength, your height, what you're doing with your diet, as active as you are, you're kicking butt. And you're what's going to happen now, from now to the rest of your life, is you're going to see, when you change things the right way, incremental changes. You're not going to see these huge changes like you did when you first got started. But let me put in perspective, maintaining where you were, which is not what you want to do, but let's just say you kept this for the next 20 years. You're kicking everybody's ass. You're doing a great job. So, and you have such great awareness of what you're doing. So I think really shaking things up is really the next step.
How are all your other, you said you had a health scare, you didn't really tell us what it was. How are all the other health markers and for you? Are you monitoring that? Have you had a checkup rate lately? How's testosterone levels? Have you checked all that stuff?
Yeah, so I did a full hormone blood panel, all kinds of that kind of stuff. And I actually am on Incline right now because my testosterone was significantly low.
Okay.
And that's been about a year now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And you just stay on it for a year?
I'm still on it, but it's been about a year that I've been on.
And while on it, it's brought you up to good levels?
Yeah, I'm up at about 700 now.
Okay. Yeah. And you're not going to go on TRT, I'm assuming, because you want to maintain fertility or?
No, I just don't like taking a ton of supplements, but because my testosterone was so low, that was kind of something that I was willing to go with. And so instead of doing TRT, and clomifan was suggested as kind of a, hey, try this first.
What about HCG for him?
Yeah, they'll go with enclomiphene before they'll go with HCG, especially if it's working for them.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But hey, you're 36, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you start getting in your 40s, it'll probably be TRT is probably what you're going to want to do. And that's, enclomiphene's great. Testosterone, it's another level. It's just you start to see different, results from that. But yeah, you're doing great, man.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That really means a lot.
You got it.
Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
Well, hey, by the way, we'll send that over to you. Did we tell you that? Doug will send over symmetry to you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it a ton.
You got it. Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, he's doing good. This is where the next level gets hard. I think, and it's good for people to hear this because sometimes your expectations get skewed, right? You start on this, maybe you've listened to the show, all of a sudden you apply all the things we're talking about, you see these huge results for a year, and then all of a sudden it dramatically slows down, and you think maybe you're doing something wrong. It's like, no, you're not doing anything wrong. You just
can't infinitely progress. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and he's already got the big rocks handled, and he made the big gains in that first year already, and now it'll be incremental.
Yeah, a lot more concentrated effort.
Our next caller is Megan from Canada.
Hi, Megan. How can we help you?
Morning.
Hey guys, how are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. So thank you for taking my question. I always hear you guys talk about the importance of good sleep for optimum health, muscle gain, and recovery. I've suffered from undiagnosed chronic fatigue for well over 15 years, just about 20 years now. Actually, I've always had good sleep. Lately, it's been a little bit less than my normal, but still getting at least 6 to 8 hours a night. So I'm wondering if, although I get good sleep, maybe my body doesn't understand or feel like it does, as it does not matter how much or how little sleep I do get, I'm always permanently exhausted. I feel like I do everything I should. I eat clean, whole foods 95% of the time. I weight train. I walk my dog twice a day. Then that's the extent of my cardio. I take care of myself better than most people I know, yet I'm constantly hurting, sore, injured, tired. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. My fatigue, aches, and pains hold me back a lot from training and just overall living a happy life. So can my body think that it isn't getting the proper rest, and in turn feeling like it has to stay in survival mode? And could it be affecting my muscle and strength gains?
Have you got a blood panel? Have you had someone check all hormones, all blood, all nutrients, see if we're lacking in anything?
Yeah, I've been seeing so many doctors and naturopaths and whatever I can see since I was 15 and I'm 34. I got my hormones checked. I did some testing with Dr. Cabral because of you guys, and nothing has came back really like in the red or anything. So
I'm
they
assuming
did a sleep test, like apnea and all that is checked off.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Did you do an actual sleep test where they were?
Oh,
testing?
yeah.
I
did that about 10 years ago or so. So I'm waiting for a referral from my doctor to get another one just to see if anything's changed. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming you went through Carnivore, so they tested you for any toxicities, heavy metal, mold. Those would be the first places I would look. Okay. Have you ever been tested for Lyme disease? Have you do you remember ever getting a tick bite or anything like that?
So I have no recollection of a tick. My mom doesn't remember anything. I did get tested again about 7 years ago, through a testing company in Germany. And it did come back positive. This was through my naturopath. But then it's since kind of been disproven. It's kind of one of those things where I don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
Because everything kind of tells a different story.
Your symptoms sound either autoimmune or an underlying infection of some sort like Lyme. So what I would do is I would get tested again for Lyme. I would also look at peptides for mitochondrial dysfunction. So there is a peptide called SS31 that has been used to treat chronic fatigue and has had some success with some individuals. Okay. And you can get this through, I know our partners at mphormones.com will use SS31. And if you look at the anecdotes and the reviews, some people find a lot of success with this. And what this does is it helps restore mitochondrial dysfunction. So if you have some mitochondrial dysfunction, you're going to the symptoms will feel a lot like what you're feeling. Just like no matter what I do, I just feel fatigued. It's because your body's not able to produce the energy like it should. And the fact that you've had it since you were 15 makes me want to lean in that direction, either Lyme disease or that. First places I would look are mold and heavy metal toxicity. But since you've tested those and you've come out okay, then I would look at Lyme disease and I would look at, peptides to help. There's really no way to test. Well, there are, but they're not really like great ways to test mitochondrial dysfunction. SS31, people who are perfectly healthy will use it as well for health, benefits. But people with chronic fatigue, you can look this up and just kind of do some of your own reading online. I don't remember what the brand name of it is. Maybe Doug can look it up. But
nonetheless,
the actual name of it is
MP hormones. If you tell them that Sal pointed you in that direction, we'll make sure they take care of it.
What about MOTS-C, or is that different?
MOTS-C might be another one, although that one has been blocked by the FDA. So that one.
What about pairing that with red light therapy? What if she was doing the two of those?
Yeah. Red light therapy would benefit, but if there's a dysfunction at the mitochondria, then you would want to look at SS31. I think it's SS31 if I'm not mistaken. Is that it, Doug? Okay.
Yes.
What's the brand name? Elamipride or something like that? Does it say? Okay. But yeah, if you go mphormones.com and say, hey, I was on the podcast, the guys pointed me in this direction, I have chronic fatigue syndrome, don't know what's going on, then they can recommend that to you.
Elamipride.
Elamipride. Okay. So you can look it up under the brand name or just the peptide itself. But I would get Lyme tested again. Lyme is interesting. It hides.
Oh, yeah.
So there are people who will get tested for Lyme, negative. Oh, it's positive. And then there's a lot of different attempts or ways to try to treat Lyme. Some can be successful for some people, but for others it can be very difficult.
It sticks around for a long time.
And it can stick around for a long time. Yeah. So I would still get tested for that just to see again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear back from you, Megan.
Yeah,
Anytime we have somebody like this, I always want to get to the bottom of it with you.
100%. Yeah, because it's been happening for so long. I don't think it's lack of sleep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's your diet. I don't think it's your training. It sounds like you've kind of done all the big,
covering all the main things from what you've said to us. So yeah, I think that's why we're just like trying to figure out the diagnosis part.
Yep.
Yeah, I've definitely exhausted a lot of resources and time trying to figure everything out. And I always thought I was kind of an overtrainer before listening to you guys. But like for the past 3 years, I've had a job that I couldn't train a lot. I worked in the field and I was running heavy equipment. So I wasn't really able to work out all the time. So that kind of, to me, disproved kind of that idea. But yeah, I did just order a red light too. So like the Juve red light. So should have that this week, hopefully, to play around with. But
have you been also tested? I'm sure you have, for the MTHFR gene to see if you have methylation issues.
Not that I can remember. Nope.
Okay, so a couple supplements you can look into. One of them is called SAM, S-A-M, and then the letter E, dash letter E. Creatine. You probably already take creatine because you listen to us. Creatine's another one. And then methylated B vitamins. So people who have methylation issues will have issues utilizing B vitamins, and it won't necessarily show up on a test unless you get tested for this particular gene. And I mean, if you could test for it, or you could just, methylated B vitamin supplements are cheap. SAMe, relatively cheap. Start taking them, see if you notice a difference. They're not, it wouldn't put you back that much at all. It's like $40 for, I think, SAMe, and methylated B vitamins are even less.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that because I don't believe so. I've done so much, it's hard to remember it all, but
I know. Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar. So I'll definitely look into that.
Will you be able to follow up with us too?
Yeah,
I want to see what
please
happens.
stay in touch with us as we go through this.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love to. I'm desperate to try to figure this out. It's a daily struggle. So
we can only imagine. We can only imagine. Well, together we'll figure this out, Megan.
Okay, and like I did just buy your guys' MAPS 15. I'm playing a little bit with that.
Perfect.
That's a program for what you're going through.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep doing that then.
Okay.
And then you guys, I mean, I live on coffee, even though it doesn't really do a whole lot. I find, but yeah, I know you guys talk a lot about that. Is that a problem?
Could be. How much coffee are you having a day?
like 4 to 6 cups.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot.
It's not that crazy though.
I would.
Sounds like me.
You can experiment with it, but here's the thing: if there's an underlying issue that's causing chronic fatigue, the coffee may be just keeping you going. But you can experiment with it and go off and see if after a week you start to feel better, because caffeine can have an interesting inverse effect when people have a lot.
If you do that, use the Organifi red juice. I swear that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, just for the side effects.
Yeah, if you decided to pull back every cup of coffee you pull back, switch that with a red juice drink, and that'll help mitigate the feelings. I think we all agree it's something else, though. I think we think it's something else. That's not a crazy, obscene amount of caffeine. Maybe to the average person, they might think it's a lot, but it's not.
Yeah. It's. I usually stop drinking it by 3 o'clock so that I can make sure I sleep. But would that make sense as to why I always have just random pains? It's just feels like no matter what I do, if I look the wrong way or walk too much, something's always freaking hurting, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, that's makes me feel. That's why I said test for Lyme. Yeah, because Lyme can cause joint pain, inflammation. It can cause a lot of really strange symptoms as well, and then of course fatigue. That's like the most common symptom of Lyme disease. Yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely look back into that.
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time in the woods and hiking and stuff like that as a kid?
I mean, I wouldn't say any more than anybody else. We'd go camping here and there, playing outside like a normal kid back in the 90s. But other than that, no.
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
Follow up with us. I want to hear what happens.
Okay.
All right,
Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
You got it. You ever trained somebody who's that?
I had a client that was like that, and it's so challenging. It's so inconsistent. She'd come in some days, be totally fine like a normal client, and then other days we couldn't do hardly anything.
And then everything hurts. And,
yes,
oh man, it's brutal.
Interesting. You don't think that Cabral's testing would highlight that? You don't
not Lyme.
Yeah, and that's a very specific test.
Yeah, but wouldn't there be some downstream effects so that they would see?
Not necessarily. You have to look for it specific. Even if you look for it,
well, it does seem
sometimes
it does sound interesting that she said she tested positive for it in the past, and then
disproved it.
Well, disprove it to her probably means someone said that you don't have it.
I have limited knowledge on Lyme, only because I have a family member who got it, and she was perfectly fine. Suddenly it was the strangest thing, like pain, chronic fatigue, and insatiable appetite. Yeah, insatiable. She would said it was like. The only thing it was just strange, and she gained all this weight and all this testing, and they finally came out and said, "Oh, you have Lyme." But Lyme can hide. You could test for it, come back negative. So there's but there are ways now to do
temporary. Isn't mono on some level, but it's temporary. It's not like a chronic issue.
Yeah, most of us, almost everybody has had the infection that causes mono by that, and then that goes away. And then mitochondrial dysfunction. The SS31 might even if she has Lyme might help, because the Lyme may cause mitochondrial dysfunction as well. But yeah, that sucks.
Tough one.
We have a special in February, MAPS Anabolic and the No B.S. 6-pack formula together. These programs were actually created to be run together. Great for building muscle, boosting metabolism, burning body fat. Get them both of them, for $59.99. You can check them out at mapsfebruary.com. All right, back to the show.
Our next caller is Zoe from New York.
What's up, Zoe?
How you doing, Zoe?
Hey.
Hello.
This is so weird. Hi, guys. So I'm just gonna read my question so I stay on track here.
Okay.
So my name is Zoe Brady. I'm 18 years old. I'm a personal trainer and a competitive powerlifter. I've been working out for about 5 years and powerlifting for around a year. My best lifts for squat is 260 pounds, bench is 160, and my deadlift is 290, almost 300. So my question is about my weekly workout split. At the moment, I do deadlifts or deadlift type workouts on Monday. I bench on Tuesday. I either rest or do some light cardio on Wednesday. I do squats on Thursdays, shoulders on Fridays, and I feel like this works out pretty well for me. However, I know as a trainer, I'm supposed to be hitting each muscle group at least twice a week for best results. However, I feel like with powerlifting, it feels very hard to do that because I'm still recovering from that last workout. So it feels hard to hit that same muscle group again. And it just feels like there's not enough time in between. So that's really just my question is how am I supposed to get the best results, but still have enough recovery time as well?
This is where powerlifting and programming is really, really important. Have you any chance you've ran MAPS Powerlift yet?
I haven't. I've done MAPS Anabolic twice, and that's about it, I think. Yeah.
So you're
modifying intensity.
Okay. I just gotta say that you're a total gem. 18 years old. First of all, you're strong as hell.
Yeah.
When we saw your name up there, I was like, is that a young man or woman who's lifting that much? It's got to be a guy. You are strong. You are really, really strong. You got a crazy career ahead of you. You know, the good thing about powerlifting is the numbers on the bar are going to tell you whether or not it's working. Forget you got to train a body part twice a week. You know, for powerlifting's very different. I know powerlifters who train the lifts twice a week, but they don't train heavy twice a week. They'll bench once heavy, once is dynamic effort or speed or whatever. I think you're doing perfectly fine. You could try our program, see how it works. The thing I would consider for you, if you want to continue powerlifting, and I think you have a career ahead of you for sure, would be to make sure you avoid any overuse injuries, make sure you work in different planes of movement and work on mobility. Because as you get stronger, risk of injury starts to go up, especially if you're always constantly training that same plane of motion.
Run a cycle too of a unilateral training for sure. I mean, this is just like any power lifter. We try to at least bridge that programming at some point with like our symmetry program, where at least then we can kind of address any underlying imbalance, any underlying compensation there. But yeah, I'm with. So I think, if it's working, if your programming is producing results, that's something that you should consider.
100%.
And I am trying to do some more mobility. I recently, I'm signed up for every Sunday I do yoga with my mom, actually. So that's definitely a way for me to just make sure I do that. Just because I'm so into powerlifting, it's sometimes hard to make time for that other stuff that I know it's important for me. So I'm definitely trying to work on that as well.
So when you and how long have you been competing?
Just around a year, maybe a year and a half now.
How are you doing?
What was that?
How do you do in your competitions?
How do you place?
Oh, so the recent competitions that I've been to, there hasn't been a whole lot of people in my age group category and body weight category. So usually it's just me against one other girl. Sometimes it was by myself. I've done 3 so far, and I have 2 coming up. I've placed first twice and second once.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Awesome.
We'll send you Mass Powerlift. Give it a shot. See how it works for you. But you're so young. You're doing so well. If your strength is going up, you're doing the right thing. If it starts to go down, don't worry about the programming. You haven't even come close to your max potential, and because of the weight that you're lifting, that alone increases the volume. If you're squatting 200 pounds once a week, and another girl squatting 100 pounds twice a week,
right,
you're both doing like the same volume. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So consider all that as well. But we'll send you Mass Powerlift. Give it a shot. See what you think.
Cool. And one other thing I just wanted to say, if you have time, is that I did one of your personal training coaching seminars back in, I think, September or October maybe. And at that point, I was in college, and I took that seminar and I skipped a class to make sure I was there on time. And that was one of my deciding factors to drop out of school, drop out of college, and really pursue my personal training career and powerlifting career. And I just want to thank you guys for that.
Oh, wow.
You do some really great stuff, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Well, I hope to see you in the coaching program. We're about to do a live thing coming up pretty soon here, so...
Okay, cool. I'll definitely look out for it.
You got it. And don't tell your mom we made you drop out.
I know.
She was super happy. She was excited. Okay, so it's all good.
Yeah, you're going to crush, but I'm not worried.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Thank you guys so much. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you, Zoe.
All right.
Yep.
Why'd you manipulate my sound, Doug?
I didn't.
Yeah.
He has powers from far.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, dude, 18-year-old kid lifting for 5 years, powerlifting.
There's some great numbers.
I mean, she's got such a good head on her shoulders around fitness and strength. And, it's exciting. It's great. She's gonna be a trainer. This is great at her age.
Yeah.
I can't
All
wait to see
in.
what happens.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right.
Our next caller is Ethan from Canada.
What's up, Ethan?
What's going on,
What's
Ethan?
happening, Brzezinski?
How are you guys?
Good, man.
All right.
Weird from this angle.
Yeah, she's a. How can we help you?
So I guess I'll just jump right into the question here. So sent this back in the fall, but I just listened to episode 2441, and it was cool to hear from Sal that you're part of a Better Man group. And I just at that point had just started one of those groups in my church. So yeah, I guess my question is, I'd love to hear you guys speak to the spiritual benefits of exercise, specifically weight and resistance training. I know for me, as weird as it might sound, my dedication to my training and the victory I feel in my Christian walk are directly influenced by each other. So I think there's something biblical about this, like subjecting yourself to discipline. And when you consider the whole biblical narrative and the indirect benefits of training, I've tried to explain this to a couple of different people in my life, but mostly just falls flat, and people think I'm kind of crazy about exercise, I guess. So just any help you guys could give in explaining or articulating that mind, body, spirit connection, and if you'd be willing to share your experience with that, and if you've come across anything in scripture that points to the importance of it, besides like Paul in 1 Corinthians 9 talks about subjecting his body to discipline. So yeah, just super encouraged by your guys' podcast and wondered what your take on that is.
God makes the weight 50% lighter.
Take the weight of the world on my shoulders.
You know what's funny about
I say
this?
that tongue in cheek, but there's kind of truth behind that too, right?
What's really interesting about this, Ethan, is okay, so years ago, when we first interviewed Bishop Barron, this was like the kind of the beginning of my journey towards Christ. And I remember I met Father Steve, who helps run his podcast. And initially it kind of took me aback because out walks this priest to greet me, and he's jacked. He's like this buffed priest.
You never see that.
I'm like, what is going on?
So great.
Yeah. And so we started talking, and he's like, oh, I love your podcast. I've been working out for a long time. And, we started talking about how fitness is this really interesting gateway towards spiritual growth. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, you initially embark on it to look better or feel better, but if you really stick with it, you're trying to become a better person. And it starts with, lifting weights, and then it starts with diet, and then it goes to diet and supplements, and it goes to sleep. And then maybe you're like, oh, I wonder if meditation's a good thing. And before you know it, you're looking at your spiritual health. Because health is just kind of this wide sphere. And so I think this is why you see in fitness, people who've been doing it for a while start to move in a spiritual direction. And it can look like crystals and meditation. It can look like all kinds of different things. But eventually I think all those roads lead to, what I would believe to be, obviously the truth, which would be Christ. I think the discipline, the structure, being sober-minded, how much it talks in scripture about being sober-minded, being ready and prepared. I think all of that contributes, glorifying God through your body is also part of it. Now, fitness can also be used to move away from spiritual maturity, right? If I start to worship my body, that takes me in the wrong direction. And there's a lot of people in fitness that do that. And this is something that I've struggled with for years and years and years, where I place something good, which is your body. Remember, your body's good. Remember, Christ got resurrected. It wasn't just his spirit, it was his body that came out. And that's what's all going to be resurrected at the end of, at the end of Revelation. Our bodies are also going to be made perfect. It's good. Our bodies are good. They were made good. Obviously through sin, we have issues with it, but if it becomes your God, if you start to worship it, it can go in the wrong direction. So I think it's a tool. I think it's a tool, and using it in the right way to allow you to worship better, to be a better father, to strengthen all the other priorities. I mean, it's great. And what's funny is when we talk about nutrition, when we talk about diet and exercise, even before, I went on this journey, what I found to work best with people really aligns a lot with biblical teaching of grace. And this is what I would talk to my clients about before I ever became a Christian. It was, grace-based diet advice, and you're going to fail, and that's okay, and give yourself grace, and it's a journey. And it's not about worshiping your body and counting every macro. It's about understanding all the values of food. And sometimes it means you're celebrating with your friends and you're having some pizza, but other times it means you're eating in a way that improves your physical health. So it definitely goes hand in hand. Appetite and enjoying food is a good thing. Can it go bad? Absolutely. Expressing your movement, your body, building strength and mobility and stamina, it's great. Can it go too far? Absolutely. So I think your body is good. It's great. Glorify it, but not for you, right? Glorify it for him. And along with that comes that discipline. And anybody who exercises consistently and eats right, becoming disciplined in their spiritual practices, like that's not that short, it's like a direct connection.
All those parallels, there's so many parallels. And I think in the disciplines, with eating to nourish your body versus, indulging, and you see in the excess what that leads to physically, and you carry that with you. And, in terms of your spiritual walk, like if you're leaning towards indulgence, you're not staying on the path, and then enjoying the path as you're going through the process of it. I think somebody could really, if they took a lot of time with putting this together with spiritual passages from the Bible, I'm sure that there's a really clear parallel between the two. And I think it's weird that we kind of discard that
or separate
them at all, because it's all interconnected. Just like all the systems of the body, we do a good job of really isolating certain systems of the body, not taking in account the whole and how they all interact with each other. And I think it's very similar in that regard.
I guess it's I've never really thought about it like this perspective, or been asked like this. And maybe that's because I've been a Christian since I was 7 years old. So it's been a part of my life, my whole life. But you've obviously heard people say, when you're healthy and fit, every aspect of life is better, right? The good, the bad, everything you encounter when you're healthy and fit. I feel the same way about God. If he's a part of your life, everything is better, including all the bad stuff. And so to me, it's very similar to the healthy and fit, physical, healthy and fit version of me. Every aspect of I'm a better father, I'm a better partner. I handle the hard times better. I would say the same thing about my walk with Christ, that everything, every aspect of my life, having that relationship makes all those things better, even the bad times. All the bad times I have someone to lean on. All the good times gives me humility. There's a lot of stuff that is exactly the same to me. And so I don't know, I feel it's incomplete if I'm healthy with food and exercise, but I don't have a healthy walk with him. And so to me, it's, I don't know, I guess it's just been kind of the same.
It's what's most interesting to me is what's baked into it is what I think I used to communicate when I was secular, and what you often hear in the health and fitness space is balance. Mm-hmm. What does balance mean? What do you mean balance? The way I would communicate it before was, sometimes you eat food to enjoy the taste. Other times you eat it to improve your health, and there's a balance between the two type of deal. Well, anyway, I remember I was talking to my friend who's a pastor, Chuck, and we were talking about alcohol. And I said, well, wine, they drink wine in the Bible. And I'm joking and teasing him. And he says, well, what was Jesus's first miracle? He was at a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
He was at a wedding, and the party just got started, and they ran out of wine. And Jesus basically is like, Let's
keep it going.
Let's keep the celebration going.
Yeah.
Let's turn the water into wine. He could have done anything. He could have done any miracle, but his first miracle was really about celebrating this communion. So I think it points to how it's kind of baked in there. And I think if you're doing it for God's glory, then you're not going to worship your body. You're going to train appropriately. You're going to eat appropriately, and you're going to find that natural balance. I think that's what leads you to that balance is that right there. But we do see it's challenging. I think the most abused substance period is food. And I think it's definitely the most abused substance in churches. I think they're very aware of drugs and alcohol and other things. But when it comes to food, obesity rates are just as high.
Not to mention Christ was the first CrossFitter. So
oh God.
Well, I was gonna say in the opposite of it, probably true too. Like it's so easy to abuse exercise and like be hyper disciplined. And that's what I guess I love about your guys' message towards fitness is like, I used to be the classic, like overtrain, never give myself a day off. And then through you guys, I've been able to give myself a bit of grace and use it more for my benefit in my Christian walk rather than like checking a box off and works-based kind of thing. Right.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
but yeah, it's super easy to abuse the exercise itself too. And I think that's where people get hung up on like not seeing the connection. Maybe, I don't know.
Of course. 100%. It's the abuse. Like work is good, but when work becomes your top priority, not so good, right? All these things are good, but not when they're
keep that hierarchy established.
That's
with
right.
Priorities.
That's right. So, I mean, I've gotten to the practice of praying before workouts to help my relationship with exercise, because that's my heart, one of my hardest things, and it's helped. It's starting to help. I can feel it. So
cool.
Yeah. Great question. I appreciate that question.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys and appreciate the podcast and taking the time to answer that.
You got it, man. Is there anything we can give you? Do you have any of our programs?
I'm on MAPS 15 right now. Very grace-based, you might say. Been missing a lot of days lately. I just switched jobs, but so that's been kind of a stressor. But yeah, I don't know. Like I like to work out as consistent as I can be, like with family and work and everything. So I don't know
if
there's any program you guys
have you gotten the MAPS 15 performance version?
Yeah.
No.
You'll love that.
The original.
You'll love that. Let's send that to him.
Sure.
You got it.
Yep.
Sure.
Love that.
Thanks, guys.
You got it, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you betcha. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You know, that Better Man group thing is like a thing. It's like a program or whatever that different churches and stuff do. So
yeah, they used to be called cell groups when I was going through.
But it's like a specific branded one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's probably a curriculum to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's pretty cool too, because when I did it, they taught, like they open, one of the first they talk about was work and how work is good, and you're supposed to, like, here's how you're supposed to use work. And I was like, huh? I don't know that they would say that. I think I was sending you pictures of the of their curriculum. But anyway, pretty cool. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat for men. This is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.